Hello. How we doing today? We doing all right? We doing okay? I am really, really bright right now. It is absolutely ridiculous. Oh man. Damn it. Dude, I just ruined the big reveal. I ruined the big reveal, bro. All right, cool. You can at least hear me, all right? But I ruined the big reveal. I screwed it up. It's all over now, dude. I can't go back. We got to go. We'll try it again tomorrow. I'll see you guys later. Peace. Nah, just kidding. JK, bro. JK. What's going on? Don't know how many people are even here right now. I gotta figure out like I gotta optimize everything a little bit better, right? I gotta get a second monitor so I can watch Streamlabs, like the desktop interface thing. I gotta be able to watch that on like a second monitor and I can have like whatever I got on. I gotta figure it out. Because right now what I'm doing is I got my phone and that's how I'm kind of monitoring chat a little bit, right? Um, oh, excuse me, but shoot, I'm sorry, I just ate. I got home from the gym. I cooked dinner real quick. I had a big ass steak, and some instant ramen as well because I'm too lazy to actually make sides for real. And then I'm like, as soon as I finished, I started getting set up for this. So I'm probably like straight up, I'm probably greasy right now, dude. I'm probably greasier than Anissa because I'm still like sweaty and I also have steak on me. But today, all right, and I am gonna read the chat. All right, you ain't got to worry about that. I am gonna read the chat. But today we're gonna be talking about Idubbbz, but I don't want to do this in a way that's meant to be like disrespectful or anything like that, right? I don't want to sit here and be like, cuck, what a cuck, that guy's a cuck. No, that's not what I want to do. All right. Um, I want to try to make sure that when I do this, we just kind of stick to boxing to a degree, right? And where he went wrong. I'm not saying that I'm not going to talk about anything other than just Creator Clash 2. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, look, everybody's called him a cuck, all right? Everybody has made fun of Anissa. Everybody has said that he needs to shave his greasy mullet and things like that, right? Everybody said that. I don't think me saying it is going to be like that big of a deal, right? I don't think it's not like I'm adding anything by saying that, so I'm just not going to bother with it, all right? Oh yeah, before we begin, before I'm gonna read a couple of chats, right, and then we'll begin. But first, before we even do that, I got a new background, all right? Got a new background going on here. I got the world famous shrimp. You telling me a shrimp fried this rice painting? Right there is Sylvia in Fish Tank, right? I walked around and I asked everybody for their business card, right? For one thing, the one on the right is John's business card, and I don't know if he is going to be mad at me for this or not. I actually scratched out some of the QR code just because I don't want anyone prank calling him or anything or anything like that, you know. I just trying to make sure the guy's protected, you know. And then there is Sylvia's version of a business card, right? She ended up writing that down and giving it to me. That's kind of how the genesis of she and I being known as like boyfriend and girlfriend hitting on each other. That was kind of the genesis of that. Then that right there is a crucifix, as you can tell, but it's actually my grandfather's crucifix. My grandfather died in late 2021, and we were going through his house and we found a crucifix, and on the back of that it says "To son from mom." So that was given to my grandfather by his mom, which is like insane, you know. Well, I guess it's not that insane. That's only like 2 or 3 generations, right? But it's nice, you know. It's a family heirloom. It was broken, but he repaired it. It clearly meant something to him, so I wanted to put it there, right? It's not just a Christianity thing. It's my grandfather. And then I will also show you one of Sylvia's prints as well. See, the Postal Service, the great, the fantastic Postal Service that we all know and love and depend on, and they never do anything wrong ever. The Postal Service doesn't steal money from people's birthday cards. No, graduation gifts, birthday cards. No, no, no. They don't steal money from those. No, no, no. Of course not. That doesn't happen all the fucking time. No. They ended up bending my print. You can kind of see. So when I held it up like this, it did that. Kind of pissed me off, right? Our lovely postal service, as I said. Also, she gave it a kiss and signed it. Now, all right, with that out of shit, man. I'm getting used to this setup, all right? So, pardon me if I completely knock my shit over, all right? But yeah, so there's that. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to read a couple of chats and then we'll go ahead and we'll get started. I want to scroll back up a little bit though. Tuna gang. I, for one, can't believe that cutting off half the possible audience and berating people you don't agree with would have any bad business effects. We'll get to that. We'll get to that one. I want to believe Idubbbz can change, but it's starting to seem like it's too late for him, even if he wanted to. Here's the thing about change, right? Not all change is for the best, okay? And when it comes down to it, we all want to believe that we change for the best, but sometimes we change for the worse, you know? I've noticed certain things about myself over the years that I've probably gotten, maybe not even necessarily worse with, right? Because there's reasons why I have changed, but there are things that I've noticed that I've started doing, started saying, and things like that, that when I think about it, I'm like, huh, why? You know, like, I don't know if it's the best thing to do, right? I'm saying this just to illustrate that, like, look, Idubbbz right now, he thinks that what he's doing is going to be best for him, right? Even if he doesn't 100% like understand it, even if it hurts, even if it's something where he does it and then he's like, why am I doing this? Why did I do that? Right? He believes that it's going to help him. He believes that it's the right thing to do. So because of that, the idea of Idubbbz changing for the better, like waking up and being like, whoa, what the hell's wrong with me? What happened? I don't think that's necessarily going to happen because he's doing things that he feels that he absolutely positively has to do. I hope that made sense. I kind of botched it a little bit. Apologies. I apologize. Whoops, my bad. Oops. But overall, Idubbbz, look, don't bank on him just waking up one day and being like, oh, dude, I'm a cuck. Right? Don't bank on that. All right? Because it's probably not going to happen. I'm not gonna say he's not gonna wake up one day and realize that he probably just ended up going way far in the other direction, right? Because that's what happens with a lot of people like that. They go in one direction and then they decide, oh no, this isn't a good thing. This isn't a good idea. I shouldn't do this. So they run all the way back in the other direction, right? I think that's kind of what Idubbbz is going through now. He may wake up one day and realize that he doesn't have to be so hardcore about it all, right? However, don't bank on him waking up one day and being like, oh man, wow, I was foolish. I need to go back to the old way or anything like that. You know, holding on to someone like that too is not a good thing. But anyway, salutations, Mr. Sullivan. What's going on, Monsieur Big? Scott, how do I pass a strong lasso guard? You know, that's a good one. And the thing is, like, whenever I pass lasso guard, for one thing, I don't pass it that much because people typically don't put me in lasso. But you see, I'd have to be put in the position, and then I could sit here and be like, oh yeah, if you do this, then you're out of it, right? I'd have to be able to do that. You know, it sucks because it's hard to smash past lasso guard. It's hard to really just pressure down, and you know, it's hard to pressure down and really make it work. And that's kind of the thing with lasso is that it can be good to put like wrestlers, people like me, and other dudes that are just really big on top game. It can be really good to put those kinds of people in, and as a result, it can be hard if you are a wrestler who likes to really pressure down on top to pass it, you know? So, bottom line, I'm not going to say I don't know. I know that if I was put in the position, I could figure it out, right? I just don't have any specific, like, moves or anything like that, you know? Because it's like I've said, like, we we're getting off topic here. You know, I got to bring it back. But years ago, we went over lasso guard because one of the people who was teaching the class was you know, big into lasso and things like that at the time. But since then, it's, you know, I know a couple lasso sweeps and things like that. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna get started. So for those of you that are not 100, oh hey, what's going on, Sylvia? How you doing? What's it called? Damn, I saw Sylvia and I forgot what I was saying. I was captivated. Um, oh yeah, so Idubbbz, right? For those of you that may not know, or just for posterity, I guess, Idubbbz, he did create a Clash 2. He ended up not performing in the way that he thought he was going to, both in the ring as well as outside of the ring with the entirety of Creator Clash. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I kind of knew that this was coming, even though I had people who were on the inside who I would talk to on occasion who would tell me, oh, dude, it's been a massive success, huge success. I did have some people who were telling me, dude, like, I've talked to people on the inside, or I am a person on the inside. Dude, huge success. They just sold out the Amalie Arena. Dude, huge success. I knew that even though those people were saying that kind of stuff, it was not a huge success. I knew that it was... You guys hear that? Can't tell if it's gunshots or fireworks, bro. I want to see though. Wanted to see if I could see the fireworks. Anyway, I knew that, right? As soon as I heard people talking about the Amalie Arena and how that was sold out. Selling out a place like the Amalie Arena is a feat. Don't get me wrong, and it's good. And I'd be bragging about it too. But they put so much emphasis on the Amalie Arena being sold out that it is kind of it's the thing that told me that Creator Clash 2 was a failure. Because if you have been, and I said this on Twitter, if you've been in the fight game for more than 10 minutes, if you've been in the fight game for like a day or two, right? Not even as a promoter, just as somebody who kind of knows how things go, you know that live gate doesn't mean anything, right? At least not in the modern day. Live gate is small peanuts compared to pay-per-view sales, okay? You need pay-per-view sales to be successful, to the point where even the UFC, if they had 2 cards back to back where they had not gotten enough pay-per-view sales, they might end up folding. I'll be 100% honest with you. Running a... I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call the police on those kids. On those crazy kids. I'm calling it in. No. Yeah, even the UFC, like, if they couldn't just hemorrhage money like that. They couldn't just have unsuccessful cards and things like that. They could maybe get away with 1 or 2, but after that, they're screwed. They're probably declaring bankruptcy. They're trying to figure out how to keep holding shows and things like that. After that, they're screwed, right? So when I heard that Ian was bragging about selling out the Amalie, and that's the only thing that they were talking about, that was the only thing they were bragging about, I knew right away. No. Nope. Not happening. Just checking this out. It sucks, right? Because this is a charity event. It's a charity event, but no money went to charity, which means, I mean, it's only a charity event in name at this point. It's not a charity event if no money from the event itself went to the charities. You know, at least not... Look, on paper, all right, it's a charity event. On the streets, it was an event where everybody got paid other than the charities. I won't say it was a for-profit event. I'm just saying literally everybody except the charities got paid. Just about, anyway, I would assume. It sucks that it happened that way. And you know what? Why don't we just go ahead and take a look at this now? Hold on one sec. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Something strange is going on. Somebody legit just knocked on my fucking window. And this is our, like, third night in this new apartment. Oh. Bro. A fucking friend of mine doesn't decide to text us. He just decides he's gonna knock on our window. Like, that's how you get... Nah, that's how you get hurt. That's all I'm fucking saying. Holy shit, bro. Not gonna lie, that was fucking scary, dude. Like, because we don't know this area that well yet, right? And I live in an area where people do get shot sometimes. There's a what's it called? There's like there's a wanted poster around town. Somebody tried to rob a fucking postal service worker, right? That's the type of shit that ends up happening around where I'm at. So to have something like that happen, it's like, no, like you are right into get ready to kill somebody mode. Not literally, you know, that's hyperbole, but you do end up in a situation where you're like, yo, it's about to go down, I better be ready for that, you know? But yeah, I don't know. Anyway. Oh, all right, there we go. So let's go ahead. Check this out. Sylvia Dream, who's we? What do you mean who's we? It's me and you. It's me and you. What do you mean? What do you mean who's we? It's me and you. You're literally right there. All right. So let's go. Hello, Idubbbz. I just want to make sure is the audio good on the desktop? Last time when I streamed Fallout New Vegas, it wasn't that good. I ended up putting it down too much. If I need to put it up, just let me know. Can't hear video? Okay, all right. Oh, duh. I know what it is. Fucking our house raided. You know, I thought we were gonna get our door kicked in by some fucking ghetto motherfuckers. Fireworks going off in the background. Fucking, and you guys can't even hear the video. Alright, so, we're gonna try it now. Let me know.
Hello, everyone. I have some bad news to share with you. I really don't want to share it. I feel terrible. This year has been a rough one, but this is the path that I chose, so I think it's best to be transparent. For Creator Clash 2, you know, despite it being a fun event and despite good fights,
we're good now, right?
A lot of creators sacrificed
we're good now, right?
time, money, and energy. We lost $250,000 on the event. The way that this typically works for anyone who's unaware is that once our expenses are paid off for the event, like all the minimums of, like, you know, broadcasting, the hotel, travel, all that sort of stuff, once that's all paid off, then we can start paying the charities.
You guys, a little hard to see now. You guys notice one of his nostrils is a lot bigger than the other nostril? That's kind of funny to me. I mean, there's really not much of anything to say right now. He's just kind of stating how things worked, right? And like, I don't think there's anything wrong with how things work. Like, if you're gonna do something, you have to make sure that your costs are covered at the end of the day, right? Unfortunately, acts of charity are still subject to you not ending up in the poorhouse in need of charity because you were trying to help other people, right? That's one thing a lot of people get wrong about the idea of charity, especially when I don't want to talk religion too hard, but especially when talking religion, they act like you have to give so much of what you have that you also end up poor as shit, and you need to be in need of your own charity, your own shit, right? That's how people tend to act. And I haven't seen anyone really talking that much about Ian that way, right? I'm just saying that like nothing's wrong with what he's saying right now. He's correct. All right, so let's keep it going.
Unfortunately, we didn't even reach the are able to do this year, and that wasn't true.
See, the thing is, in my opinion, the success of last year could have been a minimum, and it should have been a minimum, in my opinion, because Creator Clash 1 was like wildly successful. I remember watching it last year, even with the bullshit, right? Because I knew Sam at that point. For those of you that don't know, I met Sam, I want to say like 7 or 8 months after he ended up meeting Idubbbz, right? After they ended up doing that. Literally, I met him, and then like I think the next time he and I met up to do some boxing was a day after he released the his version of the Idubbbz documentary, right? Which that was kind of interesting. That was kind of funny. Bottom line though, Creator Clash 1 was ridiculously good. It was the best crossover or influencer or YouTuber boxing promotion, whatever you want to call it, that I have seen. The way that it was done was very entertaining. It was very fun. It didn't take itself too seriously. I do not mind Misfits. I don't think it's bad. I think it's actually a good promotion. But when it comes to Misfits, they are trying a little bit too hard, in my opinion, right? In some ways they're good. In some ways they don't take themselves that serious. But in other ways I feel that they take themselves a little bit too serious. Creator Clash was perfect though. It was literally perfect to it. You're going to have Idubbbz who's running around doing his thing. Anissa running around doing her thing. Etc. Etc. Fresh thing. I didn't hear anything about Creator Clash 2 until Sam hit me up to train Froggy Fresh. Right? I think I might have seen like one thing on their Instagram, maybe 2 things on their Instagram. But the thing about that is that Instagram isn't gonna show your stuff to people who aren't following you a lot of the time, right? You don't. Instagram is not an advertisement in and of itself. It's a way for people who have seen your advertisements to go and see what you're up to and things like that, if that makes sense. So all the hype on their Instagram and stuff like that, they were basically just advertising to Creator Clash. That's it, right? Nobody outside of the Creator Clash circle or bubble or whatever. I'm probably touching on things that I wanted to wait until later to touch upon. But it all just kind of came out. I opened my mouth and it all slid right out. All right.
There was a lot more to think about. I thought, okay, we're bringing on more talent. We're bringing on more creators.
Talent. Oh.
That should translate to more pay-per-view buys. We're inviting more creator guests. I think that should translate to more pay-per-view buys. This is our second time doing the event, so more people are going to know about it. So I thought that would translate to pay-per-view buys. But we did half as well as we did the first year. 50,000 compared to 100,000 the first year. So I was wrong, and I feel a lot of shame because a lot of people were trusting me and trusting our team to, protect the event and protect the charities and protect just the whole thing.
All right, so I want to pause it there. You see, he wasn't thinking properly, right? He was thinking the way that Hershey's used to think about advertising, right? This is a little bit of trivia for you. You can pull it out at parties and everybody will hate you for it because nobody likes the trivia guy. All right, rightfully so. Those guys suck. I would know. I'm kind of one of them. Hershey's, right? One of the reason those fireworks, bro. Holy shit. One of the reasons, right, that other candy bar companies were able to come around and really become hits in the way that they were is because Hershey's, at one point, they basically stopped advertising. They were like, wow, we are so big. We're too big to fail. We are unsinkable. We are the Titanic of candy bar companies, right? And there was like a story or like an anecdote of some kind about how Milton Hershey, or whoever was the CEO or like the owner at the time, They basically were like, hey, I mean, we're so popular that if you see a Hershey's wrapper on the ground, that's practically a free advertisement right there, you know? Like, you drop it on the ground, oh, hey, it's facing up, Hershey's candy bar. Oh, man, haha, it's like a free advertisement. Hold on. Turn my mic up and also the video up. Sylvia's giving me some advice here. Yeah, of course I'm fucking jumpy, bro. Fucking shit's shit's ridiculous. Oh man, I'm trying to turn the audio up, but I forget if I actually am able to do that. All right, yeah, I'll turn that up. So I guess my mic is all the way up. But what I was talking about with Hershey's, right? They got complacent. They felt like they didn't need to actually go out and grab anybody, right? They didn't feel like they needed to grab anybody off the street, drag them into the candy store, and slap a Hershey's bar in their hand. Not literally, but through advertising, right? And because of that, other companies were able to come around. Like that's how the Mars bar, to my look, it was either the Mars bar or it was everybody's, not every fan of a creator, right, is going to be that, I guess you could say, not every creator is going to be that fanatical, right? Not every, look, fans, they're not just, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, just because someone has fans, it doesn't mean those fans are going to spend the money, is what I'm trying to say. In addition to that, not everybody's fans are like that, are going to pay that close attention to them to know that they're going to be involved in a boxing match or anything like that. Especially when a lot of these creators are not even really posting about it, right? You have some people who they make like one post the week of the fight and things like that. And after that, it's just like, that's it, you know? And you see a lot of people who are like, oh man, you were involved in that? Or you're going to be involved in that? I had no idea. Whoa, wow. Ian didn't want to advertise. He thought that it was good to just get some famous people in a room together and that fame was going to attract people. That's not how it works. And the same goes with a lot of the other stuff that he ended up talking about. I forget exactly every little thing that he mentioned, but he didn't really talk that much about advertising. He didn't talk that much about getting people to know about the event and to want to watch it or anything like that. He just sort of sits there like, yeah, I'm sure it'll work out in the end. Idubbbz, what's going on, man? All right, so I'm hoping that the audio issue will be fixed by now. This stream is absolutely going to hell, and I apologize, but we're going to get through it.
It feels particularly bad because this isn't like a regular business where it's all a personal loss and I can just be like, oh, okay, I suck at business, and I walk away from it. All of the other fighters...
You don't suck at business, you suck at advertising. Okay?
Were, hoping that their charities got represented and got supported for all their hard work. But we didn't have any anti-piracy measures. We weren't prepared to deal with what ended up happening. I mean, I was just thinking, like, let's just avoid catastrophe. As long as there's, like, not, like, I don't know, like a bomb threat or, like, injuries or anything crazy, like, we should be fine. This should just be, like, the first year. I don't want it to be more complicated than the first year. It ended up being a lot more complicated. Amongst the 800 pirated streaming sites, there were between 1.3 and 3 million viewers. So even though there were around 50,000 pay-per-view buys, there were around 1.3 to 3 million viewers, people who actually watched the full broadcast. And that's a little bit reassuring. It makes me feel like, okay, people maybe do want to watch this. They just didn't, they just either couldn't afford it or just didn't want to support what I had going on. If it's 1 or 2 steps to pirate it, but it's 3 or 4 steps to stream it legitimately, people are going to take the pirating option every time.
I was hoping that I could let him kind of finish the point, and I forget I haven't really watched this too well. I haven't like sat there like eyes glued or anything like that. I watched a little bit of it. No, I watched the whole thing yesterday, but I was multitasking. Um, he is correct, right? Why would you pay if you have to go through like a weird process in order to pay? That being said, I don't think that's the whole thing. In addition to that, he seems to think that he could do something about pirating the streams and things like that. He can't. Okay, this is Ian Jomha, right, of Idubbbz fame. All right. He's not going to have access to technology, and he's not going to have an understanding of what he's trying to stop. He's not gonna be able to do nearly as much to try and stop pirating as, say, the UFC or DAZN or the MLB, the NFL, etc., etc. And yet, all these companies that have a lot more money and a lot more resources than he does, they still have a hard time stopping piracy and things like that. There's so many websites which I never use. I pay for everything. That's for sure. But there's so many websites. There's literally websites dedicated to websites. There's websites that have lists of the active streams that you can use and things like that. And sometimes these streams have more than one stream on them, meaning like you go to a page, you have the stream up, and then there's little buttons underneath that say stream 1 or channel 1, stream or channel 2, stream or channel 3. So if one goes down, you can literally just click over to the next one. Ian would not be able to stop pirating even if he put every ounce of his being, every ounce of know-how into it. Even if he got people who know more than he does, he is not going to be able to do anything. So to sit there and be like, oh, well, we didn't make money because of pirated streams. Nah, I'm sorry, dude. That's not what it is. It's something else. It's multiple other things. Because again, the UFC makes money regardless, right? Now, part of the way they make money is by sponsorships, but then they also do have people who subscribe to subscription services, and they pay for pay-per-views and things like that, right? Those people are out there. They do exist, right? If they can make money, you can too. It's just you got to get everything else regarding this in check. And I think it's kind of a way that he's trying to save his ego just a little bit, right? Blaming the pirated streams and things like that. And I'm not the first one to point this out, but I think it's a way of him not having to accept responsibility for the reasons why, right? Or at least the uncomfortable reasons, because he is accepting responsibility for apparently not wanting things to be more complicated than the last year, so that when they did get more complicated, he shoved his head in the sand, right? He is accepting responsibility for that, but he's not accepting responsibility for certain other things that, I mean, we all know what those things are, you know? I think this is his cope. I think this is his way of not having to accept the fact that it's on him, you know? What does DAZN stand for? What does DAZN stand for? DAZN? Yeah, that's, it's DAZN. Bleach, what's going on? Tank watching, what's going on? Primetime says he made 3.4 million viewers. That's how many people were watching total between the pirated streams and the legit streams, was 3.4 million people. That's pretty crazy, you know? That's a feat in and of itself. Like, for real. He should probably be proud of himself. Proud of himself in that way, that like, oh wow, I was able to put on something like that had 3.4 million viewers. Whose responsibility is it to protect pay-per-view from being pirated? The promotion, the facilitator? Seems like a bad investment if you don't have insurance or backers. I mean, it's a little bit of everybody's, right? It's a little bit of everybody's to kind of try and make sure that doesn't happen. The thing is, though, it's technically illegal to do so. So it's not like you can 100% blame somebody because they were taken advantage of in one way or another, right? And I'm not saying like I agree or disagree with the idea of it being theft or anything like that, but under the law on a technical level, my understanding of it is that excuse me, you're not supposed to be doing it, right? So to sit here and be like, oh, pirated streams, you should have did more. It's like, well, on a technical level, that'd be like victim blaming someone because their car got stolen, right? I'm just saying. We could sit here and we could have like a big talk about it, right? We could sit here and be like, oh man, it is not, it might be, it might not be. We could do that, but bottom line is, you're asking a question where it's kind of everybody. You know, everybody's got to kind of either protect their stuff or not just use other people's stuff and things like that. By the way, I would appreciate it if you guys would like this stream as well as share it wherever you feel it is appropriate to share as well. I'm really bad with sharing my stuff to places. I got yelled at by the people in a Twitter chat that I'm in because I wasn't sharing my streams to them. So I made sure to do that today. But also, if you want to donate to me as well, don't feel pressured to. I'm not sitting here trying to be like, do it now. If you want to do that, feel free to. You can see in the description as well. I'm not asking for a lot, just like 1 or 2 million, something like that. Nothing huge or anything like that. No, but jokes aside, if you want to donate, if you want to throw me a couple of bucks, I really appreciate it. If not, it's all good. All right, let's move on. I should have said that in the beginning.
I think we also had a big streamer audience. That's who we are appealing to. I really like the live stream audience. People who want to watch these events live, and they watch things on Twitch and YouTube, and they get it all for free generally. So I think it was, in a lot of ways, bad to appeal to that crowd and not give away the stream for free. I think a lot of them felt like, well, this should be something that's free, especially if you have ads in it. Aside from the pirating, we did have higher expenses this year. It was a bigger arena. We went to the Amalie Arena, so it was twice as big.
He sold it out.
We paid more for broadcasting.
That means something.
So the broadcasting team did a lot more elaborate shit, and there was a lot more staff involved. We did a creator hotel. So we bought out a hotel to make sure all the creators had a safe place that they can stay, and got booked up. If we didn't book the creator hotel when we did, I don't think we would have had nearly as many creators show up to show support. And our pay-per-view numbers actually could have been hurt by that. We also had events the day before the fight and the day after the fight, so that fighters and friends and family could come together and process their trauma. That was sort of paramount for me, because the first year we did the fight and then I went to bed. I got the shit kicked out of me by Dr. Mike, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up, the hotel was empty, and then I got on a flight and traveled 5 hours with my face completely swollen back to Seattle. And I was like, that was cool. That was so worth it. There was nothing. There was no processing my trauma. There was no talking to anyone and relating about the experience afterward. Everyone was gone, and that shit felt awful.
Yeah. Before I say what I was waiting to say, right? This was one of the big moments of this video for me. This is one of the points that stood out to me. But before I say what I want to say regarding that, yeah, I mean, what it really comes down to from the sound of it, right? Taking the Froggy Fresh shit out of it. All right, because we all know what kind of damage that did, right? But it really just sounds like he got a little bit too big for his britches. He had good intentions with everything that he was doing. He just didn't do the math. He didn't do the math, and he didn't ever stop to think, what if something goes wrong, right? And unfortunately, that is what can sometimes happen when you have early success. When you have success so early on, you're kind of riding high, right? You're flying high. Here to sit here and shit all over Idubbbz or anything like that. Everybody's done enough of that. But it just sucks, man. The intentions were supposed to be good, right? Idubbbz, whatever kind of guy he turned into, he was trying to give money to charity. All right, you could say whatever you want about that. That's the bottom line. So I'm not going to sit here and spike the football. All right, I'm not doing a victory lap. All right, it sucks, you know. Now, regarding what he ended up talking about with the whole creator hotel thing, with the whole trauma thing and stuff like that, this is actually something that I saw some people critiquing him about, that I'm actually going to defend him over a little bit. Now, on one hand, it's like I just said, he spent too much. He was spending too much, and he was not guaranteed to bring in even as much as he was spending, let alone more than what he was spending, right? So you can critique the creator hotel in terms of recognizing that he was counting his chickens before they hatched, right? But I don't blame him for the creator hotel thing, right? Because here's the thing. I'm not an e-celeb. At least not yet. At least not yet. Maybe you guys share that stream. Maybe I will be. All right? But not yet. Okay? No, but I'm not some kind of e-celeb. All right? But I have been in multiple fights. I've had I want to say 6 or 7, maybe 8 fights. You know, the ones that are on my Tapology page, you know, that's only a few of them. There are other ones that I've had, like smokers, that I didn't show up thinking I was gonna like straight up fight somebody, but they ended up turning into fights. And then I've also had like other fights that are just not on my Tapology page. When it comes down to it, on fight day, I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want people texting me. I don't want people hitting me up on Instagram, Twitter, wherever. I don't want my mom telling me good luck, right? I'm trying to process what I'm about to go through here. And it's like being on death row. It's your last day on death row. This is how I described it to somebody on Twitter the other day. If you were on death row, right, and it was your last day, you knew that you were going to end up being executed either the next day or maybe just later on that day. You're going to have this looming cloud that is over you. Everything you do, you're going to think, oh man, right now I'm taking a piss. Later on, I'm going to get put in the chair. Right now I'm taking a shower. Later on, I'm going to get put in the electric chair. I'm eating my last meal before I go get put in the electric chair. That's how you feel on fight day, right? Not necessarily that you're going to be put in the electric chair, but everything you do on fight day, every conversation you have, every piss you take, every swig of water that you take, every time you scratch your balls, every time you get up to stretch, everything. It always goes back to, I have a fight at 7 p.m. tonight. It all goes back to that. So to have somebody taking your mind off of that, right? It's really stressful, right? And not even necessarily taking your mind off of that, like, oh, they're distracting you from all the rain clouds that are in your head about the fact that you're gonna have to take your shirt off in front of like 1,000 people and fight somebody, right? Not even like that. Literally just like you're sitting here, you're trying to process everything, you're trying to remain calm, cool, collected, and you have your mom texting you like, "Hey, how you doing? Do you feel nervous? Do you feel nervous at all? It's okay. You're my son and I'm proud of you and I love you. You know I love you, right?" To have your mom sitting here doing that, or like your boys hitting you up like, "Yo, dude, it's fight day, bro. You pumped? Dude, you should walk out to this song, bro. Oh, you got another song you want to walk out to? But bro, like if it was me, I would have walked out to that song, dude. Fucking dude, you feeling good? You feeling pumped? Dude, you want some advice? You want to know what I think you should do?" And I'm explaining it so much because I want you to understand just how strongly I feel about this, right? Like it is awful, and anyone can fucking tell you all about how much it fucking sucks, right? So if I was a fighter on Creator Clash, right, if I was Harley Morenstein, all right, a 600 foot tall Jewish French Canadian guy, right, and I was walking around on fight day, and every 5 minutes, somebody would come up to me and be like, "Whoa, Harley Morenstein. Oh, dude, bacon strips, bacon strips, bacon strips, bacon strips. Jack Daniels, haha. You remember that? You remember that? Next time, we're going to eat cigarettes," right? To have somebody doing that to me every 5 minutes, I'd start breaking people's legs, bro. I'd be fucked up, right? So when it comes to the Creator Hotel, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world because these people, they're going to kind of get cordoned off and they're not going to have to deal with everybody hitting them up, or not even hitting them up. They're still going to have their phones, right? But you can at least shut your phone off. What they won't have to deal with is being stopped on the street and being asked for photos and to shoot the shit for 5 to 10 minutes with everybody around them and things like that. It's crazy, right? How awful that is. So I don't blame Ian for getting the hotel, right? In addition to that, they rented out the hotel. They rented out the hotel in its entirety, and you know they were having rooms for people who weren't on the card, but they were like celebrity guest type deals. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world, right? I mean, if you're gonna rent out the whole hotel, you might as well use the excess rooms for something, right? There's like 24 fighters, I think it was. There's like 100 rooms in the hotel. You might as well use them for something. I don't think it was a bad idea. Now, the whole trauma thing, I hate when people use the word trauma, right? Because even though I do believe that, you know, you can have trauma, you can be traumatized and things like that. People who say, oh, I couldn't process my trauma, it's always like a pussy thing. And it makes me mad. But like at the same time, I can also identify with this a little bit because I got the shit beat out of me for my first fight. Like, it was ridiculous. I received some very bad advice from the people who were around me at the time in terms of getting ready for the fight and how I should approach it and things like that. And because of that, as I said, I took bad advice and I ended up getting fucked up. Fighting is lonely, right? Because you're the only one who's in there. So if you triumph, it's all because of you. If you lose, it's all because of you, right? And if you get your ass beat, you're the only one who feels it. Everybody else saw it, but you're the only one who really feels it, right? Maybe your family is like, oh man, I can't watch. Oh, I hate it. Oh man, right? I'm not trying to discount that, like, if you're a family member or a friend, a close friend, it's not fun to see one of your family members or close friends get beat up, right? But you don't understand it fully unless it was you in the situation, right? So because of that, after my first fight, it was kind of difficult because I'm sitting here and I have these people who don't fight and I'm telling them what happened and they're like, oh, bro. They're looking at me like, they're like, dude, how could you? And it's like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was dating this chick at the time. I mean, we were kind of sort of broken up by that point, but we were keeping in touch and we would meet up and, you know, we would hang out, all right? We'd have a good time, all right? But she happened to see me, and I had a big-ass bruise. And when she saw me, she had this look on her face that was like, oh my gosh, I'm dating a guy who got beat up. Like, that's kind of the look that was on her face, and it's like, yo, you don't understand shit. Why are you acting like you're the victim, right? I'm telling you these stories to make you understand how fucked up it is to be in either of the situations that I just described. And because of that, even though I don't like how Ian is like being a pussy about the idea of, I need to vent my trauma, like, I also don't blame him for it. Because when you get beat up and you feel that, right, and you're alone and the only people around you are people who haven't actually felt it themselves, they just saw you get beat up, or, you know, they didn't even see it because they didn't even come to watch. You're telling them about it after the fact. They get upset, right? And not they, excuse me. Lost my train of thought for a second. But it's really, really difficult to deal with, and it makes you upset, right? So I'm not going to sit here and, like, critique them too hard on that. I know I've been watching a long time, all right? But it is what it is. I feel like most fighters fight to process their trauma in life, not these rich kids that want to feel cool for a day. Yes, but no. You know, yes, but no. That's another topic we could get into later. I've been talking way too much. I want to get through the rest of this video.
So, yeah, some of these things that might seem extraneous, in my opinion, were entirely necessary, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, as evidenced by the by the pay-per-view streams, it wouldn't have made a difference because we did half as many pay-per-view sales. So we also had to pay for more fighters this year. The first year it was,
again, flying too close to the sun, right? And one of my critiques of boxing and MMA, right, is that a lot of these somewhere in the undercard, somewhere in the prelims, et cetera, right? I know that somewhere in there is a future champion. I know somewhere in there is going to be a guy that I'm talking about on Twitter, and I'm talking about how great he is and how I think his ground game is the best since Charles Oliveira or Habib or whoever, right? I know that's the case. I don't care yet, though. I can't get involved with these guys yet because this guy might have a good fight or two, but then he might fall off and then he gets bopped. He gets kicked off. And then he's back in the regionals in fucking Oregon. And I don't care about regional MMA in Oregon, right? What do I care? So fuck it, and like whatever, you know. He thought it was a good idea to put more fights on the card when I think either the same amount or even less was a much better idea. And as he said, he had to pay more fighters.
stipend. And for anyone like confused about this or thought everyone was fighting for free, they pretty much are fighting for free. I think any of the fighters can attest to the fact that fighting in Creator Clash is not a financial boon in any way. That $20,000 is eaten up in those 9 months that you're training. I would say that $20,000 is on the low end of what it should cost you to train in those 9 months.
Nah, bullshit. Bullshit. They were overpaid. Okay. I know so many guys, right, that do MMA. I know guys who made it to the UFC and things like that. They're putting together fight camps on shoestring budgets. That's how I do it, right? Me, when I fight, right, I train at my gym, right, and I don't have to pay to go to my gym because I teach so many classes at my gym. And when I say my gym, I don't mean it's like my gym. I mean, somebody else owns it, but it's the gym that I go to, right? Then I also go to open mats and other places where I will end up getting sparring and rolling and other work in because it's going to help their fighters and it's also going to help me to get ready, right? I really don't have to pay that much in terms of, in terms of training, right? You could even say that I don't pay anything in terms of training. Now, at the end of the day, like, I'm not most guys, right? Most guys do have to pay something, but I did the math, and I guess 20,000 divided by 9, which was a number that I got somewhere. It might have even been this video, but I heard something about $20,000 for 9 months of training. 20,000 divided by 9 is $2,222 if I remember correctly. I'm actually going to go ahead. Bang, bang. 1, 2, 3 divided by 9 equals, yes, $2,222.22. All right. That's how much money per month these people had to train. That is crazy. That is absolutely insane. These are not elite level athletes. They don't need a masseuse or like a physical therapist or like even a they don't need all the stuff that an elite level athlete, an elite level a high caliber fighter needs. Okay. What they need is to just get in shape, and maybe they would get like a personal trainer for that or something like that. They could go to their local like fitness center and get one of those, right? They could go to wherever they're training and they could say, hey, I have to get in shape for this fight. Could you tell me how to do that? A lot of boxers, a lot of MMA guys, they'll just be like, oh yeah, here's what you want to do. They're a lot like gym bros. They'll show you the ropes if you ask them, right? They didn't need that. And other guys who don't need that much money. I know so many guys who they don't need to spend that much on their training camps and things like that. And we're talking serious dudes that they're trying to make it to the UFC and things like that. It's crazy. that he's sitting here and he's trying to be like, actually, I think that it was a little bit less than what I should have ended up giving them. It's crazy to hear him say that coming from the world that I come from. And then on top of that, and I mentioned this on Twitter as well, most of them looked like ass. They looked like unclean asshole the night of. I'm just being honest about it, right? A few people showed improvement. Aaron showed improvement. I loved seeing Aaron win, right? I thought that was great, right? He got beat up by our guy Harley last year, all right? It was nice to see him come back, stick with it, and get the W. I was rooting for him, right? Harley looked better, right? From a boxer's perspective, he lost, right? But he looked better. Hands up. He's deflecting punches off his arms and things like that. He just let John Morrison do a little bit too much. All right, that's really what it was, right? We won't talk about what Harley could have done better or could have, whatever. We won't talk about that too much. But the bottom line is only a few of them showed any sort of improvement from last year or even any legitimate skill. The rest of them they looked terrible. They looked like they hadn't been training. So it's like, where is this money even going in the first place? Where has it gone? You give people $2,222.22 per month for training. That's fucking bonkers. And then they go and they suck ass. I'm not insulted by the whole YouTube boxing thing. I never was. I found it to be interesting from the get-go, right? I thought it was funny. I remember watching Logan Paul and KSI, right? I remember watching them fight. And I was like in a Discord call and I was giving commentary much in the way that I do with the Misfits cards and things like that, right? I literally, like back in 2018, I was in a Discord call doing the same thing I do on my streams now, right? Bottom line is I like creator fighting. I like influencer boxing. I think it's entertaining. I think it's fun. We're allowed to have fun every now and again. But like, if there was anything that was insulting, it's the way that a lot of these creators are getting paid more than what I get paid in a month, right? And they suck ass on fight day. It's trash. It's awful, If it was me, I'd be ashamed of myself to a degree, if I'm being 100% with you. Either that or either A, they're just not working that hard, or B, they're getting swindled, in which case that sucks. I don't blame them for that. But the bottom line is something is fucky. All right. I feel like most fighters fight. Oh, I already read that one. Silly me. Silly little me. Alana said she didn't spend anywhere near that amount on training, and I believe it. I believe it. Could put together a small team for a fight camp for 2K. Yeah, you could. You could. And you'd look good at the end of the 9 months. Unfortunately, not many of these people did. But let's continue.
Because you have to pay for your trainer yourself, and you have to pay for, all of the food, the equipment.
Chicken breast. That's what you eat during your fight camps is chicken breast. Chicken breast, some vegetables, maybe a little bit of rice on the side, Not all carbs are bad, right? But chicken breast is the main thing. You need $2,000 to pay for chicken breast. That's what you need, Idubbbz. This is insane, bro.
The travel, whatever you're doing to make all this shit happen, aside from putting your streaming career or your YouTube career or TikTok on hold.
Which is another thing as well. I ended up making a post about this on Twitter. Back in 2019, that was the last fight that I had. It was actually like a month or two before COVID ended up hitting. I was running a YouTube channel that got like no views, right? It had like a couple thousand subs. I was uploading to that channel 2 times a week, right? A video that was like actually like produced, right? And then a video that was more just kind of free form rant, kind of like this right now, right? I was writing a book to go along with that channel. It sold like very few copies, but it sold some copies, right? I was working 40 hours a week, and I was kind of we didn't really have like leadership, but I was kind of one of the guys who would steer the ship for a men's club, right? For a social club that me and some buddies ran and things like that. I was doing all that while getting ready for a fight. And then on top of that, my fucking house burned down 2 weeks before, right? So the last 2 weeks of the fight camp, I was trying to fucking pick. It didn't like burn down. It just caught fire, right? So I'm sitting here trying to take all this shit out of where I was living and bringing it to my parents' house and shit like that with 2 weeks until the fight. So to sit here thinking about the last time I fought, thinking about how I was like, again, thinking about how I was doing it on less than a shoestring budget, thinking about all of the shit that I had to do in the meantime, thinking about what ended up happening a couple weeks before my last fight, right? It's to sit here and see these punk ass YouTubers and these punk ass TikTokers say that because they can't because they're fighting, they can't do TikToks, they can't put their phone down and like do their fucking dumbass dances and shit like that. It's like I want to go to the Creator Clash meetup, all right, the Creator Clash reunion. I want Froggy to take me. All right, I want me and Froggy, we're going to crash the Creator Clash reunion. All right, and I'm going to start just I'm going to start fucking making fun of everybody. All right, we'll say that. Anyway, it's fucking it's bonkers, dude. It is insane. And yeah, Marcus makes a good point. It's crazy because there's so many coaches who will also comp your training for a small percentage of your fight purse. Yeah, and we're talking like 15-20% of your fight purse. So someone, if they were smart, they could have went to a coach and been like, hey, so I'm going to be getting paid 20 grand to fight in this thing. If I give you 20% of the 20 grand, would you be willing to coach me, right? Well, let's figure this out. All right, so gonna do some math here. I failed math multiple times in high school, so you're gonna have to excuse me. All right, so 20,000 divided by 100 is $200 times. I want to say, yeah, we'll do 20. That's $4,000. That's $4,000, and like depending on how things are, right? Depending on how things go, that's more than enough, right? $4,000 for 2 months. There's guys that'll take that. I'd take it. If you said, hey, look, I got to fight in 2 months. Could you help me out, right? And I know that it was for 9 months of training. Don't get me wrong. But the way you could do this is you end up going to a boxing gym just as someone who's trying to learn. That's it. Nothing special about you. And then 2 months, and then when 2 months until the fight comes around, right? That's when you approach and you say, hey, look, I'm getting paid $20,000. I'll give you $4,000 out of that, right? Of course, you may have to negotiate and things like that. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, like, my understanding of the game, I'm not big on all of that. I'll be honest with you, all right? I'm not big on the money game. If there's somebody who's going to be better, if there's somebody who's more well-versed on it than I am, feel free to come in and be like, no, you're wrong. It'd be more than 2,000. It's really 30 to 40% that they take. Fine. All right, whatever. It's all good. Anyway.
While you're training, you know, it's not a huge reward. So I don't want anyone to think.
Oh, and also, literally zero. Because I'm an amateur, which means by law, I am not allowed to make money on a fight. That's the only distinction between pro and amateur that's down on paper, right? There's this idea that if you're a pro, that means you're good. Not necessarily. There's tons of pros that are ass. There's a lot of amateurs that are really fucking good, right? But the main distinction between being pro and amateur is the fact that if you're an amateur, you do not make money on the fight. The way that they circumvent this is they'll give you tickets that you can sell, right? If you sell tickets for the promotion, they give you a cut of the ticket sales. I believe it's actually about 20% of the ticket sales. I wasn't sure if I was going to actually fight because of, a couple of things, including my house catching fire, right? I wasn't sure if I was actually going to go through with it after that happened. So I didn't end up getting tickets until the very last minute. I ended up selling like 4 tickets total. And it came out to like $20. I think I was owed like $20 or $25. I hit up the promoter because I was like, hey man, I kind of need everything that I can get right now. My house fucking burned down. I didn't actually say that. The promoter still doesn't know that that's what happened, right? But I hit up the promoter and I was like, yo, can I get that like $25? And he fucking ghosted me. He didn't answer me. Because, like, he was probably like, dude, $20? What do you want me to hand deliver that to you? You fucking idiot. You should have sold more tickets. What are you hitting me up for? You want $20 that bad? That's probably what he was thinking, right? But I didn't make any money off my fight. My last fight. You know, it's not the only fight I've had. And any fights that I have made money off of, it was like 30, $40, right? Because I'm not a people person, right? I have a hard time shilling fights, being like, hey, you should come to my fight, you know? So like to sit here again, like it's that's insulting, right? To see Idubbbz talking about 20 grand, something that even if I went pro tomorrow, I wouldn't touch. It would, like, people who are 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fights into their career don't touch 20 grand, right? I don't even think 10 fights into your career, I don't even think you'd end up making 10 grand, if I'm being honest with you, right? You don't start making money in fighting until you hit the big time. You know, until then, you're either losing money or you're just barely breaking even. So again, to hear this is just insulting, right? The amount of damage I've had done to my body for free, and then here's this punk motherfucker with uneven nostrils telling me that these punk motherfucker TikTokers are like, oh, I need more. It's like, fuck off, dude. Get out of here.
Just because these fighters are getting $20,000 to basically like just be a little bit less in pain after going through all this torment and trauma, I don't want anyone to get shit for that, because that is a minimum of what these fighters should be getting. In my opinion, they should be getting much more, because it is a traumatizing event and it takes a lot of time and dedication. That is a cost of putting on the event, in my opinion. I think other boxing promotions would like disagree that, you know, fighters should be getting paid this amount, but, you know, to each their own. What do I know? We lost $250,000 on this event. Another thing I want to address is there are some people floating rumors around that we're pocketing money from Creator Clash, and that's extremely hurtful, because it has been nothing but the opposite. I understand that some people out there don't like me. I'm okay with that, but the thing I'm not okay with is just lying to people and making up shit for the sake of like clicks. I mean, this is hard enough as it is. Like, I don't want to make this video telling people that we made half as much or we sold half as many pay-per-views as we did last year. And what I absolutely don't need is people spreading rumors about us pocketing money. This has been a financial fucking catastrophe for me. We don't need that, and we don't need any of that shit for any of our other fighters, because this has been a huge sacrifice for all of them, financially, specifically financially. If you want to say that they're earning boatloads of clout for fighting, sure, whatever you want to say, but this has been a huge sacrifice. I try not to view any of the
All right, so I wanted to make sure he kind of got past that whole point. Here's the question: did you end up pocketing any money for Creator Clash 1, Idubbbz? That's the question. If you did, then it's a little bit weird. Now, I don't mean, oh yeah, we had to pay back our expenses, right? We needed to recoup expenses. That's one thing. I don't blame you for that, right? You should be trying to recoup expenses and then give everything to charity and things like that. But did you, in one way or another, end up pocketing money from Creator Clash 1? If that is the case, then you can't blame people for saying that you would do it again with Creator Clash 2. In addition to this, it feels a little bit weird to sit here and go, oh, I mean, we didn't pocket any money from Creator Clash 2. Well, yeah, of course, because you lost money on Creator Clash 2. The question is, would you have ended up pocketing money if you didn't end up losing money on Creator Clash 2? I'm not going to say whether I do or do not think that he was going to if he did. It's just, there's been a lot of weird things, Idubbbz. There's been a lot of weird things over the last year or two. And yeah, when people dogpile, they dogpile hardcore, and sometimes they end up making things up, or sometimes things get misconstrued, right? Because here's how rumors start, right? Very rarely does anyone ever say, "Oh yeah, I heard Idubbbz is gonna pocket money from Creator Clash 2." Typically, that's not how rumors start. Typically, the way rumors start is you and I are sitting here talking to each other, and I say, "Oh, and you know what else? It wouldn't surprise me one bit if Idubbbz was going to pocket some money from Creator Clash 2," right? What would then happen is you take what I said, you go to the next person, and instead of saying exactly what I ended up saying, you may say something like, "Oh yeah, and Idubbbz is probably going to pocket money from Creator Clash 2. Then the person you spoke to goes and they say, "Oh yeah, Idubbbz pocketed money from Creator Clash 2. Right? That's how rumors start. It's just a degree shift. It shifts by a degree every time it ends up being said, right? So on one hand, it could just be a rumor that got started by accident, right? People dogpiling him, things end up getting taken out of context, or things get misconstrued and things like that. But on the other hand, you've been being really weird for a long time, Idubbbz. You've been being really, really weird for a really long time. And even the stuff afterwards, right, is a little bit weird. I'm just going to be honest with you, but let's go ahead.
Pirated live streams as malicious, because I think the majority of people, aren't malicious about it. I think there were 50,000 people out of a million plus who just said Creator Clash live stream, and like instantly a bunch of shit popped up, and it was just very easy for them to watch. And I really don't blame them for making that choice. All I'm trying to do right now in making this video is to remedy it. That's sort of what I've been grappling with over the past couple of months, is like, what the hell are we going to do? I can't even think about doing a Creator Clash 3. We lost money and there's no money for charity. So what are we going to do to solve that? I don't I don't have a good solution. The best solution that I've been able to come up with is putting the full Creator Clash broadcast, Creator Clash 2 broadcast, on YouTube for free for everyone to watch, and just hoping and praying that people enjoy it and want to support it. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are, but I want to post the full broadcast on YouTube, and I want to have like a fundraising goal. I know YouTube has like a fundraising thing, but right now, from what I've seen, YouTube doesn't allow multiple charities to be listed in the fundraiser, and there's not really very many good options for us to collect donations ourselves. So I think we're just going to have a singular charity represented in the video, and then we'll put all the other charities in the description. So if you want to donate to a specific charity, that's where you can do it. I want to make it right. I want to make it more right. I'm okay with us fucking up and taking a $250,000 loss. I'm not okay with charities not getting any money. I want to thank all the fighters and all the coaches and all the staff of the event and the fans who, came to show support.
So I'm gonna be honest, like the live stream thing, it's weak, right? Same thing with the reward tiers for his live stream. It was all weak. Like, that's the best you got is, oh man, I'm gonna set up a live stream, and yeah, I'm gonna shave my head for $250,000. Shaving your head is like a $10,000 reward. All right, I'd feel cool if it was like $10,000. I shave my head, right? Shaving your head is not a big deal, right? And that to me is, again, like it just shows how weak he is. It shows how weak he's being about this, right? And when I say weak, I don't mean like wimpy. I just mean like underwhelming, right? It's a very underwhelming response. It's a very underwhelming a very underwhelming solution and things like that. And he really should have put more time, effort, and energy into it, in my opinion, because like there's no way that was the best that he could have thought of. I think maybe he thought of some other things that were better, but he was like, no, that's too much work. I don't know if I want to do that. No, no. Excuse me. Even Froggy Fresh, even Tyler was like, yo, if you and I fought, and he's right, by the way. Tyler said if you and I fought, we would break the bank. Like, why don't you and I fight? We could do it MMA instead, right? And I'm not just saying that because I would potentially have a hand in training Tyler, which I would if I had the opportunity, right? I would help train Tyler for an MMA match. I'm saying that because it would be true. There was a legendary beef. It was a beef that everybody knew about. It stopped the internet for like a day or two, maybe even 3, right? Those don't just happen anymore. The internet's so big, there's so many different like little corners of YouTube and corners of Instagram and Twitter and things like that. You don't get things that just break the internet anymore. Right? But the Idubbbz Froggy Fresh thing broke the internet. If those two fought, dude, that would be so much money. Right? And I guarantee you either A, Ian thought about it and he was like, no, because then Sam Hyde wins. Or he was like, oh, no, I don't know. That's too much effort. It's too much work. Right? That's I guarantee you, right? I'm willing to bet, I should say. That's probably what happened when Froggy was like, yo, why don't you and I fight? Right? It's insane, you know? He's got Twitter fingers. He'll talk shit in a video, but when it comes down to it, he won't fight Froggy for charity. Froggy doing him a favor, by the way, even if he beats Ian, I almost called him Ethan, even if he beats Ian's ass, right, which I think Froggy could. I'll be honest with you. I've seen Froggy move, right? Even if Froggy did beat Ian's ass, at least Ian is not in complete financial ruin anymore, right? Because he would probably make more than enough to recoup his losses, and then he could actually give some money to charity with it, right? And it's not even something that he has to set up. You could attach it to like a Misfits card, right? They could have an old Pride Fighting Championship style thing where they have them fighting in the ring, right? That'd be cool. That'd be cool as hell. Maybe have some soccer kicks, right? That'd be great. I'd love that. Like he's just not getting creative enough because he is more focused on his ego, in my opinion, right? He's more focused on his ego and whether he has to put in the work or if he feels that somebody else who doesn't even talk about him anymore is going to win or something like that. That's what he is worried about. And because of that, he's sitting here like a punk motherfucker on his 24-hour stream like, hey, if you raise the $250,000, I'm going to shave my headerino. I'm going to shave it bald. Haha, I'll even shave the mustache too. It's like, shut up, you fucking idiot. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of him too much, right? I'm not going to sit here and talk about all the stuff that people tend to talk about with him, but like, that right there is just like, Ian, you know you're not trying hard enough. You know you're not trying as hard as you need to. You know you're not putting as much thought into it as you need to, right? And we haven't even started talking about who he's donating most of the money to, right? At least from my understanding. I'm going to let it play and then I'll talk about that. If Ian humbled himself and put his ego aside and asked Sam to train him to fight Froggy, that would break the bank. And you know what? Maybe we could even work something like that out, right? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But like, what if Froggy came up here and he trained with me? And Idubbbz came here and he trained with Sam. Right? What if? You know? I wouldn't want to train Idubbbz to fight Froggy simply because, like, you know, Tyler was really good to me. You know? He's also a really nice guy. And even it's not like we talk every single day, right? We got lives to lead. But, like, you know, I really like him as a person and things like that. I consider him to be a friend. Right? But like the idea that you know, Sam and Idubbbz could potentially get together, that would be pretty cool, and I think that may also end up helping, right, to a degree. But yeah, and anyway, let's get going.
It might feel like a big loss, but it was a lot of entertainment. And, you know, a lot of good came out of it. A lot of people had unforgettable experiences, and it will be a highlight of their lives.
What were you thinking? What, you're gonna turn the guns towards everybody else now? Everybody else who literally said, we all predicted, like, yo, this is like this ain't gonna work out for you, Ian. It ain't gonna work out for you now that you decided to do the shit that you did. You burned the bridges. You burned bridges, and now you're fucked. After everybody who was around you was like, hey, you're doing something wrong, you're gonna sit here and you're gonna be like, that's your move? Clown. Put a clown nose over those nostrils, bro. Alright, put a clown nose over them. You fuck. Holy shit, dude. I forgot about this part of the video. This stood out to me the other day, but I forgot that it was even in there.
Ever. There's not even the chance that it goes to charity. So I just want to thank everyone. It truly made a difference that you came and supported. I'm just disappointed that I let everyone down. You know, I just made some strategically shitty decisions along the way. And
yeah, I'll say.
All of those decisions, you know, led to where we're at. I think it was dumb of me to say that we weren't going to make the broadcast available for free like we did the previous year. I thought that that would bring in more pay-per-view buys because people would be like, oh, I'm not going to be able to watch it for free? Well, I'll definitely buy so I can.
You underestimated the laziness of people, Ian.
It either didn't have an effect or backfired, and I'm trying to learn from it. This year I have a lot on my plate, and, you know, I think my strategy going forward is to just be, you know, completely candid with everything. Again, it's hard. I would...
See, and that Froggy Fresh video, and he made a bunch of other videos and things like that. And look, I understand. You need time to process certain things and stuff like that. But the way that he's been being for however long, it's kind of hard to believe that... It's kind of hard to believe that he wasn't just sitting here thinking like, oh man, I got to find a way out of this. I got to find a way to make this not my fault, right? I'm not saying that's definitely what he was doing. I'm just saying, like, the way that he is, even in this video, let alone how he's been for years at this point. You know, I've probably said that sentence 5 times now. It's hard for me to sit here and think, oh no, everything he was doing was in good faith. It was a good faith attempt to try and do the right thing, right? The longer he took, the more it looked bad on him. And he waited this long to admit that it was bullshit, that it sucked, and that he completely fucked up, right? And again, he took this long just to say that, and then to be like, yeah, I think I'm going to stream for 24 hours, and I'll cut my hair. I'll shave my pubes for $250,000. Clown.
Normally keep all of this shit to myself, but I gotta express myself. I gotta tell you guys what's up. Otherwise, I'm gonna rot from the inside. But yeah, additionally, another thing that's, you know, been eating at me is that someone is trying to take over Creator Clash. I know that sounds like I don't know, the plot of a video game or something, but it's real. And it's been taking up a lot of my time. So hopefully I don't have to talk about it in the future. But, you know, if I do, you guys are going to hear about it on this channel. If you're just coming across this video and you have no idea what this Creator Clash shit is about, it's creator boxing, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of amateur boxers getting in there for the first time.
Amateurs.
And giving it their all. And there's a lot of heart and a lot of soul and a lot of grit that is on display, and I think it's very much a worthwhile watch. Donation links are also going to be in the description.
All right, shut up. So, one thing that I dislike about Ian, right, is that he has become more effeminate. And I don't mean like, oh, he found his feminine side. The way that he expresses himself, as his own words, It's very strange. Like there was a moment in the Froggy Fresh video. It was either the Froggy Fresh video or it was another one. But he sits there and he's like, "You're here for the." He said something like, "You're here for the juice and the grease. So I'm gonna give you the juice and the grease." It's like that. Like that's how a woman would speak, right? The way that he sits there, he ends up saying that he needs to express himself, right? When he's speaking about his royal fuck up, right? He talks about how he wanted to keep it all to himself, but he realized that he couldn't do that. So he had to express himself. That's not the way that an adult handles things, right? That's the way that a child handles things. Maybe effeminate was the wrong word to use. It was just the word that came up when I was trying to describe what I dislike about this guy, right? He is very childish in the way that he does things, right? He's trying to sit here and he's trying to act like he is a victim in this and things like that. He's saying, I would have kept this all to myself, but it was going to eat at me, so I had to express myself. You're not expressing yourself, dude. You're owning up to your mistakes. That's not what you were doing, right? Now, I fucked up and I said something that it really wasn't the best way to describe what you're doing a second ago, right? But I'm on a live stream. This is live, okay? I'm sitting here not putting that much effort into trying to curate what I have to say. This dude's making a video where if he does a take that sucks, he can just redo the take. And the best take that he had is the one where he sounds childish. The best take that he has is one where he tries to make himself out to be the victim, as though he's sitting there like, oh, I had to keep it locked up because I wasn't able to express myself. But I'm going to express myself now. You're not a fucking like soldier who wanted to sing, right? You remember that in that used to be a joke, that used to be a gag in TV shows and stuff like that. You had somebody who was like a hard ass. They were like a drill sergeant or like a boxer even. And like you're sitting there and you're seeing them in the thing, and eventually you're seeing them in the show, and eventually they end up talking about how I never wanted to be a boxer. My dad made me do that. I wanted to sing. I wanted to be a dancer. I didn't want to be a drill sergeant. I wanted to be a dancer. I'm not allowed to express myself, though. My dad wouldn't let me. That's the way that Ian is trying to, like, kind of frame this. That's the way he's trying to make it look. Is that, he has to express himself or else it's going to eat at him. And that's why he's got to do this. No, motherfucker. You got to own up to your mistakes because people are going to start to wonder where the money went. That's what you're doing. And this is his way of trying to victimize himself in all of this. You can't be mad at him, because he was feeling guilt, Ian is an empath, okay? All those charities that didn't get money, he felt that. He felt it when those charities didn't get money, okay? So who's the real victim here in all of this? I mean, Ian felt it, those kids dying of cancer, Ian felt bad for that. He felt that. In a way, it almost felt like Ian was dying of cancer, keeping all that in. So who's the real victim here? That's kind of what he's doing there. That's a manipulation tactic that I don't 100% believe was not purposeful. I believe that he chose to use that combination of words specifically to try and I don't know if ingratiate himself to us is the right word. He wanted to make himself look like he was a victim of all of this, when in reality he was the perpetrator and he's dealing with the fallout of his actions. Just like with the Sam Hyde stuff, just like with all the other stuff that he's done all the time, right? And that's the story of Idubbbz, is he starts shit, he gets hit when in any way, shape, or form. He makes a video talking about all this shit where he switches up the timeline, right? He switches up the timeline of events to make it seem like he never did nothing to nobody ever. He's never done anything wrong in his entire life, right? And this big bad guy named Gormedios came around and started trying to mess with him, kicked over his sandcastle at the beach, right? It's insane. Silly Billy mannerisms, yes. Yes. Make me mad 7-Eleven, yes. Silly Billy mannerisms, that is perfect. That is the perfect way of describing it, is Silly Billy mannerisms. Holy shit, yes. It's bonkers. It is insane. It is crazy. But he's pretty much done. There's like 11 seconds left. I'll go ahead and I'll let it play.
Of this video as well. I'm trying to monetize as much as I can to make up for this loss, but yeah, it's hard.
Oh. 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 What's that say? Cabello Nuevo de Sam Hyde en Vivo. Oh, that's a live stream. Fucking, I don't speak enough Spanish to Spanish. I don't speak enough Spanish to really understand what that is. All right. Well. No. Hold up. Okay, the chat is being weird, so I guess I will just go ahead and bada bing. Bada boom. Ah, there it is. That's a little bit better. Okay, all right. So, there we have it. That was the story. All right. I'm going to take one of these out. In fact, I'm going to take both of these out. Jeez, I am sweating a little bit. It's also partially because it's a little bit, well, I don't even think it's hot in my room necessarily. I just think it's, what do I think it is? You know, I think it's the fact that I'm talking. I'm throwing out all this hot air and stuff like that. But yeah, that is what it is. I don't have anything to really say that I haven't already said. I guess at the end of the day, it sucks that there was no it sucks that there was no money for charity, right? It sucks that no money got given to charity. I wish it did, right? I'm not gonna sit here and try and peace, babe. I didn't even know you were still here. Jeez. It sucks, bottom line. Right? That's it. That's that. No victory lap from me. I'm not sitting here like, haha, kids with cancer got no money, right? That'd be absolutely insane of me to do. That'd be so bad. That would be so awful. It just sucks, dude. It just really fucking sucks. You know? I don't know what to say. It sucks, but the bottom line is it is Idubbbz' fault, and it is only Idubbbz' fault. It is only Idubbbz and Anissa's fault. Nobody else's fault. And his video, there were some valid things. There were some things that were dumb as hell. There was a little bit of manipulation thrown in there as well. Idubbbz is a manipulative guy, right? He clearly fancies himself to be the kind of guy who gets to walk all over people. He fancies himself to be the kind of guy who he's always got it under control, even when he very rarely ever does. He thinks that he's the smartest guy in the room every single time, right? And the thing about people like that is that usually it's just an ego thing. It's not even actually that they're really that intelligent. As I said, it's an ego thing, and what they do is they just take advantage of people who are like nice, right? They take advantage of people who aren't constantly on the lookout. They don't walk around like this all the time, ready to fight, right? So because of that, like when someone like that approaches them, they're just like, oh yeah, no, this guy seems all right. I think I can trust him, you know? I mean, I haven't done anything wrong to him. I haven't done anything to deserve him being like mad at me or like anything like that. And I don't think he would just use me like that or anything, you know? I would assume not, right? But the thing is, people like that would. People like that will, and then they'll turn around and they'll act like you were the bad guy the whole time, you know? It's really messed up, you know? And I'm not saying that like I have a beat on Idubbbz or anything like that. It's just I'm saying given some of the things that I saw that I do believe were like legitimate manipulation tactics, they were using word salads, or not even necessarily word salads, just he was picking his words very carefully to appear a certain way and to elicit certain reactions and beliefs and feelings within you, right? That's what he was doing. Given that that's what I saw, it's kind of difficult for me to not look at this and think, oh yeah, Idubbbz is a manipulator, right? He's not the kind of guy I would want to trust to carry my wallet, right? I'll be honest with you. And I'm not saying it's because I know he would take something. It's because I'm not sure. I'll just be honest with you. You know, I'm not even trying to attack him. I'm just telling you my honest feelings about the guy, you know? But anyway, let's go ahead and let's read some of this. I really need to get this figured out, right? Because now that I'm in a new spot, there's different lighting and stuff like that. Like earlier today, I looked pretty good, right? But that's because there was light. It was light, right? Now I am absolutely like, it is crazy how much white there is. The only thing that breaks up the white is my red hair, right? It's insane. People act like the boys. I don't want to end up on a I don't want to end up on a list here. People act like the boys didn't have a talking with Ian and Hassan and H3, etc. Did they? Where have you? Don't share any links that are going to get me put on a list. All right, but is that true? Like, where did we get this from? Like, where are you getting this from? You know? Good point. All the lead up was painting it as Anissa's pet project, and Idubbbz was just the front man. Now he's shouldering the whole blame. And yeah, he's probably doing that just to try and protect his wife, which is admirable to a degree, right? I would do the same thing. But you are right. Like, it was a bunch of like, oh yeah, this is Anissa. Anissa's a boxing promoter. Did you know that? And she's married to a boxer. She's a promoter. She's a promoter. She's the promotiest promoter ever. You were right, 100%. Like, and I forgot about that. Overall, it is pretty crazy, you know, and I don't blame him for trying to protect his wife, but like, it was foolish. Did you see Ian wearing makeup at the end of the stream? I didn't see any of the stream because I'm not supporting him, right? Because, and this is something else that I wanted to talk about. I don't want to support the charity that he was going to be giving the majority of the money to, because the charity that he was going to be giving the majority of the money to, and look, I'm not an expert on charities here, all right? I don't exactly know every little thing, and I'm not making any declarative statements that I feel are fact or anything like that. I'm just talking about my opinion. Everything I'm about to say is just opinion. That is it, all right? But the charity that he was going to be giving most of the money to, Critical Role, for one thing, my understanding, from what I heard through the grapevine, it is owned or at least partially operated by Marisha Ray, right? Marisha. She was one of the fighters on the card, and she is also, I would assume, friends with Idubbbz to some degree, right? So that's a little bit weird to me. I'm not trying to say that anything shady is going to happen with the money. I'm just saying it's a little bit weird that of all the charities that you could pick, you pick the one that is, again, from my understanding, this is just what I heard, owned and operated by somebody that was on the card that you're buds with to some degree. That's feels like a bit of a conflict of interest to me. I'm just saying. In addition to that, I checked out Critical Role just out of curiosity, and they don't seem to be a very good charity. In fact, charity seems to be a loose term that could be applied to them, if you could apply it to them at all, because I noticed that they don't actually support any causes or anything like that directly. What they do is they collect money, they take a little bit off the top, and then they distribute it to actual charities, to places that if you go to them, they will give the money to whoever needs it, whoever they're advocating for, or they'll use that money for resources for whoever they're advocating for, right? Critical Role, to my understanding, does not actually do that. They just kind of are a middleman. They're literally just a middleman. They take the money, they take a little bit off the top for themselves, and then they hand it out to other people and places and things like that. I don't want to support a middleman. I'm not here to support a middleman. Especially because a lot of the, not all of them, right? But a lot of the cases, a lot of the charitable things that they would end up doing, they're not things that I feel are the most important things in the world. Like, for instance, I forget what it was called, but there was a charity that they ended up talking about. I believe it was Anissa. She ended up talking about that charity on Twitter or something like that. It was like, there was a number. It was like 832 or like 826 or something like that. It's like 826 LA or something like that. On the Critical Role website, they end up talking about how they ended up helping 832 LA or whatever it is. They ended up helping them to build a writer's room on a high school in Venice, California. Wow. Money well spent. This kid's dying of cancer and AIDS. You know, less so AIDS, right? But AIDS is AIDS is a problem. Cancer is a problem, right? And you're sitting here putting a writer's room on a high school so that they can have elective classes, I would assume, for people who want to become writers one day, I guess, so that they can go on strike in Hollywood and be really fucking annoying. I would assume that's what it's for. Again, all of this, literally everything that I've been saying for the last however many minutes is just conjecture. It's just my opinion, and I've heard it from other people, and I've seen certain things that it's all my opinion, bottom line. But that's not something that I feel like my money absolutely positively has to go to, right? I don't feel that that's worth it. And because I know that in addition to some of the other more worthy things that Critical Role does give money towards, right? That in addition to that, there's also a chance that my however many dollars is going to go towards putting a theater club in some high school in Albuquerque. I don't want my money going to shithead middlemen. Right? Again, my opinion. I'm not saying it's a fact, but that's what it looks like to me. Is they're just shithead middlemen who are making it harder for charities to do their thing. Right? It's a lot easier for 875,000 LA to put stairs, you know, at the old folks home. Even that is like, that's better than a writer's room at Venice High School, right? I'm trying to make fun of them, and I'm thinking up better ideas, better uses for their money, you know? But like, bottom line is like, anything where there's a chance that my money is going to be used for something that I think is bullshit, I don't want to bother with it. And especially when it's not even like I'm giving money directly to the people who are going to use it. I'm giving money to people who are then just going to allocate it somewhere else. That, in my world, the way that I think of charity, the way most people think of charity, that is not a charity. That's a bullshit middleman who has a grift going on. And again, just my opinion. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. It's just my opinion. It's not fact. It's just the way that I see things. And because of that, I don't want to donate to the stream. Because I know that the money is going to end up going to them, right? To Critical Role, who again, Idubbbz and Marisha are buds. They're pals. They're pallies. All right. I'm not trying to do that, or at the very least, they had a working relationship, right? Trying to be careful here because I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying anything for fact, right? It's insane, you know. It's fucking bonkers, dude. It is Looney Tunes bullshit, that Wile E. Coyote shit, right? And I don't want anything to do with it. So no, I didn't even bother to watch Idubbbz stream, right? Why would I want to? I don't like where the guy has gone, right? And something else, right? The thing people don't understand about Idubbbz, or the people that Idubbbz stands, right, don't understand about Idubbbz, and it really sucks because like Harley seems to be convinced of this too. And I was going to say something earlier on Twitter, but I'm trying to avoid getting too deep into it on Twitter. Harley said something earlier. In fact, I'll pull up the tweet. I'll go ahead and I'll pull up the tweet. Sam Hyde and Idubbbz are both trending on Twitter right now. Harley Morenstein. Harley Morenstein Bears. Okay, so this is what he said 8 hours ago. I don't think he should face an uphill battle to do right. Him not wanting to say racist words and raise money for charity is good. So when thousands of goofballs are discouraging him for it, I want to make it clear that there are people out there that respect him for it. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. If Ian doesn't want to say racist things, that's perfectly fine. I don't want to say racist things, right? I don't want to be on here saying that type of shit, because what's the point, right? It's not good to be throwing that shit out there, right? But the thing is, people don't realize, or at least people like that, you know, not that Harley is as bad as like a lot of the stands. You know, I think Harley's just trying to be as fair and balanced as he can be. I don't think he has like bad intentions with this, but a lot of the people who do have bad intentions, a lot of these people who are like dickhead, usually communists and things like that, from what I've noticed, a lot of hammer and sickle people are coming to Ian's defense here. They're trying to make it all about the N-word, which is what Ian used to always say, right? Or, you know, the NF word, I guess, if you want to say that. They're trying to make it all about that, because if it really was about that, well, then they'd have a leg to stand on. It's not that. Ian had a whole personality outside of him saying racist and homophobic things that people really enjoyed. They had a really good time with it, right? There was a contingent of edgy boys, right, who were only there because of the NF word, right? That is true. It is. But it's not even, I guarantee you it didn't even make up 10% of his old fan base, right? His old fan base was there because he had a personality that was fun. It was funny. It was nice. It was a nice personality, and we liked it, right? And because of that, he made good videos. Excuse me, jeez. He made good videos, all right, because of that personality. All of a sudden, he starts questioning himself. He gets older. He realizes, oh, it's probably not a good idea to be running around saying NF all the time, right? I should probably stop that. And he could have just stopped there. He could have just not made a video. He could have just not said it anymore and left it alone. Or if he absolutely positively had to make a video, he could have just made a video saying, look, I apologize for saying that kind of stuff. That's not cool, right? He could have just did that. Would have been all good. Would have been fine. Would have been A-okay. But he had to sit there and he had to completely and totally change up every little thing about himself, to the point where, as I believe it was Make Me Mad 7-Eleven said, he's got these silly Billy mannerisms and these silly Billy idiosyncrasies, I think is the word that I'm looking for. He says things in a silly Billy way. He says silly Billy things in a silly Billy tone, right? He says and does these weird things now that are completely alien. And it makes me sit here as somebody who is not the way that he thinks that, or that people are trying to say is like toxic, right? I'm not the kind of person who runs around being mean to people in public, right? I'm not the kind of person who is like, haha, yeah, say that word, right? I'm not that kind of dude. That's not me, right? I lost my train of thought. Basically, what I was saying is, like, oh yeah, the way that he is now makes someone like me, who is like, I try to be as normal as I can be, right? I don't know. Am I doing a good job? Am I doing a good job at it? A good job at being normal? Someone like me looks at someone like him and goes, hey, that guy's a weirdo. Like, and not in a good way, not in a way that's like, oh, he's just a little bit different. No, like that's the type of guy who, like, I feel like he's gonna, like, not physically hurt me, but he's going to swing for my knees one day because I'm going to do something that he considers to be like a microaggression, right? And all of a sudden he's going to be swinging for my knees when my back is turned. He's going to be telling all of our mutual friends that I'm like an asshole or something like that, you know? That's the kind of guy that Ian seems to have become to one degree or another. And that's why everybody is so upset, right? Not only did he burn the entirety of his old fan base, but he's also just become a weirdo. He's a weirdo. And again, the reason why everybody gets hyper-focused on the NF word that he used to say all the time is because it's easier for them to get away with not having to acknowledge the criticisms that we have of Ian as a person, as well as Ian's new content, if they can just make it all about racism. And the same thing with Ian. he's guilty of this too. He's probably more guilty of it than most people are, because he's the one who started it. He's the one who continued to perpetuate it. He's the one who still continues to perpetuate it, to the point where he's literally said things like, I'm interested in hearing feedback from people who are in the groups that I have hurt in the past. And it's like, what kind of weird shit is that, bro? I'm not allowed to have an opinion because I'm not black. That's racist in and of itself. All right? Like I don't mean to be a boomer here, right? We all know that, like, people don't give a shit about that kind of logic nowadays, right? But it's crazy that he's sitting there saying, I was racist in the past, so my answer is to be racist towards other people now. It's insane to me, right? But Ian has become a piece of shit, all right, in my opinion, right? Dude is not a good guy. In fact, he's probably worse than he ever was in his entire life. Maybe not his entire life. I don't want to act like I know this guy, all right? I don't know him like that. But I know the type of guy that he was on camera back then, and I know the type of guy that he is on camera now. The type of guy that he is on camera now is not a very good person, if I'm just being 100% honest with you. Even when he tries to do something good, he's just... Even when he tries to do something good, he's just... He's got the wrong thing in mind. You know, even when he tries to rise above the bullshit, he doesn't. He ends up going lower than everybody that he's trying to rise above. Right? And he moves weird. He moves weird. Bottom line. But anyway, it's been 2 hours. Jeez. 2 hours. Not a bad stream. Not a bad stream at all. I really enjoy streaming. You know, I want to do more streams and stuff like that. I have videos ready to come out. I have a video that's going to come out most likely tomorrow. If not, I'm going to wait till next week. I wanted to put it out on Monday, but the thing is, some shit got in the way, and I couldn't quite finish editing it. So, you know, it had to, you know, had to push it back. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to read some of these. Fun stream. It's nice stream. Thank you, you two. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ian kept on saying, oh, I already read that one. That's like the second or third one that I've done. Good point. All the lead up was painting it as Anissa's pet project, and Idubbbz was just the front man. Now he's shouldering the whole blame. Oh, okay. No. What I read earlier, I'm pretty sure, was actually a response to what somebody else said. Ian kept on saying that Anissa was mostly in charge of the event, and now she has Ian taking the blame for it all. And yeah, again, I think he's partially doing that because he is concerned about his... Interesting. Anyway, I think what it comes down to is that he is trying to protect his wife, which is admirable. I respect that, right? I wouldn't want my wife taking shit like that, you know? I wouldn't want my wife on the internet at all. I'll be honest with you, at least not in that capacity, right? So I actually respect him for that choice. That is a respectable choice that he's making, right? It's just the way that he's doing it is like, you know? And then in addition to that, I think he kind of addressed that a little bit when he said that he just wanted everything to not be complicated. He didn't want everything to be fucked up or anything like that. And because of that, he probably just let Anissa handle a bunch of shit that he probably should have had more of a handle on himself, right? Who knows? The next L he takes is his wife losing respect and getting bored and leaving him. Yeah. Yeah. It's a fact of life that happens sometimes, and it sucks. And I wouldn't wish that on Ian, right? If they did divorce, I would hope that it would be a mutual thing, or even that Ian was like, you know, you have been a drain on me. Like, Sam was right. You know, he has a moment where he says that, and he leaves, right? I would hope that it is not going to be something like that. You know, but unfortunately it probably will be if it does happen, You know, I hope it doesn't happen, and I hope if it does, it's a little bit cleaner than that, right? But you know, anyway. If Ian humbled himself and put his ego aside, dude, I keep reading shit that I've already read. You know what? Screw it. I'm not going to go back. All right. The reason I go back is because I don't like missing chats and things like that much, because it's like, oh, what if somebody asked a good question? What if somebody made a good point? Right. But I keep reading the wrong shit. I'll probably just head out. I'll give it like 30 more seconds. I'll see if anybody ends up saying it'd be okay to box for Ian and box for Sam. And you'd be surprised how hard it can be to get people to agree to and then follow through with something like that. You know, it can be tough. It can be real tough. You know, it might be a little bit too much, right? She hates him because she always wanted to be famous, and he was, but she killed that. Yeah, I mean, it's a crabs in the bucket thing, right? For people who don't understand, crabs in the bucket. If you let's say you're down in Maryland, right? You're hanging out with Brandon Buckingham, and you guys decide you're gonna catch some crabs, right? I'm pretty sure there's crabs down there. Maryland is famous for crabs, right? But you try and catch some crabs. If you catch them, you don't need to put a lid on the bucket to keep them from escaping. If you have like 2 or more in a bucket, at least as the story goes, you can throw them in there and have nothing keeping them inside. And what's going to end up happening is one crab starts to get out, other crabs are going to grab onto it and pull it back in. Now, this could be for one of 2 reasons. Either one, it's jealousy. They're like, oh, you think you're going? Nah, if I ain't going, you're not going, right? Or it could be that they see it and they're like, yo, he's about to get out, dude. Yo, if I grab onto him, I could get out too. I could end up getting out too, and then we'll both be free, right? And that ends up happening. They grab on, but the crab that's getting out is not strong enough to carry them both, so the crab ends up getting dragged back down. Who knows? Potentially, right? Potentially that is what ended up happening, right? Potentially. I think it could. Consider doing watch along for fight nights sometimes. Yeah, I typically save those for creator clash. Jeez, I typically save those for cards that are gonna be like interesting in some way. Not like, I'm talking like Misfits, right? I know somebody on the card. I'm actually gonna be streaming later this month for the Misfits card that is in, I believe, Nashville. It's somewhere in Tennessee, if I remember correctly. Because I actually know Jack Grady, and I don't know Alex Stein like that, but you know, Alex Stein was on Fish Tank, right? So I'm actually going to be streaming for the prelims of the Misfits card, because Jack and Alex are going to both be fighting on the undercard. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a commentary stream. I'm going to be watching it, you know, and you're going to see me. I'm not going to take the chance of showing it on the stream because I don't want to get in trouble or anything like that. In addition to that, I'll probably do the Nate Diaz-Jake Paul fight. That will be an interesting one. And I feel like there was one more that I thought about that I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to do that one. I feel like there was like one more, but I could be wrong about that. So yeah, just, you know, stay tuned for that. Sam and Scott, old school dojo storm of Idubbbz gym when? Dude, that'd be great. I wasn't around for the dojo storm days of martial arts, but I wish I was, because those would be great. Because, like, martial arts, you know, MMA included, there's way too much Twitter fingers bullshit that goes on today. Like, when I did that reel on Instagram and TikTok where I talked all about how jiu-jitsu practitioners are, like, assholes, and jiu-jitsu tournaments suck because jiu-jitsu practitioners are assholes, right? When I did that, there were a bunch of guys. Now, mind you, these guys were all like white and blue belts who were from over 100 miles away from me, right? I had a bunch of white and blue belts who were way far away from me, who were talking mad shit. No one from my area had shit to say. I noticed that. And I know those guys saw it. I know people from my area saw it. Because for one thing, people from my area follow me, right? For another thing, it has 158,000 views. The reel that I'm talking about right now. It has 158,000 views. I know people from my area who recognize me saw it. None of them said anything. And it's because they know, like, and I'm not even like the biggest, baddest motherfucker ever. I'm not that good, right? Especially not at jiu-jitsu. I'm like average, if I'm being nice, right? I'm not that great. But they knew, like, oh, if I talk shit, this guy is like 45 minutes away. I might actually have to go to a gym somewhere and fight him, which means I should probably keep my fucking mouth shut. Because even if I do think I could beat him, well, there's a chance that he could kick my ass. Because it is a fight after all, and this is another trained individual, right? Nobody from 45 minutes or less away, nobody from an hour or less away came into my comment section talking shit. It's only people who were from more than an hour away, more than 2 hours away, even, right? The closest person that I could find lived in Connecticut. Dude lived in Connecticut. He was a black belt. He wanted to talk a little bit of shit, but he didn't want to be too shit talky, I guess. He didn't want to be too provocative, right? Instead of I actually posted it on my story. I was talking about how there was this punk motherfucker who, instead of being like, yeah, well, you think you could beat my ass, he decided he was going to be like, well, maybe you should fight those people, haha, you know. That was the closest hate comment. The rest of them were from dudes from like fucking California and Nebraska and New York and other places like that. I'm talking like 3, 4 or more hours away by car, right? Modern day martial arts, people don't fight anymore, right? You used to just go to gyms and you'd beat the shit out of people for like minor disagreements. And I'm not saying that's like a good thing necessarily, but when you're sitting here and you're saying that like, oh, your brown belt is fake, which I had a lot of those comments. A lot of people were saying my brown belt is fake. People saying that because I don't have cauliflower ear, right? I actually have a little bit of it right here. It's like so small you can't even tell it's there, right? But all because I don't have like big puffy ears, people are like, nah, you bought that off Amazon. I know you did. Throw that belt away. You're not a brown belt. People saying that, that's not a minor disagreement. That's something that you can and should fight over, right? Because this is something that I put so much time and energy into, and it's something that I want to make my livelihood. That if somebody is to sit there and be like, fake black belt, fake brown belt, it's like, nah. We gotta fight now, because even if I lose, I gotta show you that I know what I'm doing, that I am deserving of a brown belt, right? And the fact that you're all the way in New York, the fact that you're all the way in Chicago, in fucking bumfuck Idaho, the fact that you're all the way out there and you're gonna sit here and you're gonna tell me that my shit is fake, well, you have a problem with me. You're talking shit. You think you could beat me. If you're so confident, why don't you come out my way? If you need help with like a hotel, if you need help with like airfare or something like that, I'm not a rich man. I don't got that much money, but I'll see what I can do. And we could find somewhere. I'm not even saying it'd be at my gym. We could find somewhere and we could fucking do something about it. Because I'm not going to sit here and allow somebody to say that I am lying about my experience, that I'm lying about my skill level. I will not allow that to happen, right? But a lot of these motherfuckers on Twitter and you know, Instagram and things like that, because I was saying things that they didn't like. Things that, for all intents and purposes, were true a lot of the time, mind you, right? But because they didn't like them, they're going to sit there and they're going to be like, no, you're a fake brown belt. That's what that is. They have so much respect and reverence for their belts. I don't have that much reverence for belts. A belt, I think it was Hickson Gracie, or it was either Hickson or it was no, I think it was Hickson. I think it was Hickson Gracie. He fucking said, a belt covers 2 inches of your ass. The rest is up to you, right? I don't have that much reverence for belts. The reason why I picked up my belt and I showed people was to say, hey, I know what I'm talking about because I've done this for years. And I've achieved a belt that all of you look at as a milestone of some type. I'm not some one-stripe blue belt who thinks he's got it all figured out. I'm not some guy who's like, jiu-jitsu, grappling, why would I need that when I could punch you? I'm not one of those guys. I know what I'm doing. Fucking, that wasn't so that I could feel like, aha, brown belt, ooh, look, that was so that all these fuckheads who are like, oh man, belts matter, belts mean something. That was for all of them so that they wouldn't be able to say, oh, well, you don't do jujitsu. That means I don't have to listen to you. And that's why they started saying the shit that they were saying. It's very similar to what I was talking about with how Ian is trying to make everything about the words that he used to use instead of actually recognizing the criticism. Instead of recognizing my criticism of the way that jiu-jitsu practitioners carry themselves and the way that jiu-jitsu tournaments are organized, they're just going to switch to whatever they think they can switch to. And that just happened to be, no, your belt is fake. You're not a real brown belt. You know? It's insane the hubris that these people have. You know, specifically jiu-jitsu practitioners, to the point where I've seen it before, right? You have these blue belts who, like, they think they're hot shit. And it's like, nah, you're not that good. You don't know that much yet. You know? When you've been in this as long as I have, when you started wrestling at 14 and you're now 28 and you transitioned to jiu-jitsu after you got done with wrestling, and when you've been in multiple MMA fights and kickboxing matches, and when you have seen, when you've studied, when you know the shit that I know about combat and everything else surrounding it, you get to have an opinion. You get to say shit every now and again, right? And that's what I was doing. But because these Twitter fingers motherfuckers, they just have to say their piece. They have to allow their egos to express themselves, right? They can't shrink their ego. They have to grow their ego. Because of that, they end up saying weird shit that they don't end up backing up. Shit that if this was the 1970s, we would have been a bunch of weirdos doing kung fu moves, right? Doing shit like that, right? We would have been running around like that, but at least we would have been fucking scrapping it out with each other. We would have been beating each other with sticks, right? At least there was money where our mouths were. Now it's just mouths where our money should be, right? Mouths full of genitalia where our money should be, right? If that makes sense. Make me mad, 7-Eleven, us. But yeah. Anyway, I'll read a couple more, then I'll probably get out of here. This isn't New Vegas. Why? Does it say it's supposed to be? Oh man, I hope it doesn't say New Vegas. I'm gonna be mad if it does. I'm gonna be so mad. No, it's reacting to the Idubbbz Creative Clash 2 apology. At least that's what it says on my shit, you know? I got nervous for a second. Philip Burke says Gaethje versus Poirier. I don't know. Maybe I'll do something for that. Potentially. We'll see. 3 hours minimum. You mean 3 hours for a stream minimum? Nah, I get too bored. Dojo brawl. Yes, I would love that. I miss the days where dojos would fight each other. That's fantastic. You know, and I want to make it clear. I don't think that people should just fight on the street constantly, right? I do believe that mutual combat should be a thing, but that doesn't mean you get to fight in the middle of Walmart, right? You go out back, all right? You got some people with you to make sure that nobody gets too roughed up, right? People will die sometimes. I'll just be honest with you about it, right? Sometimes people will die in a street fight. That's just how it is. But people, like, that could happen at any time, right? It's an unfortunate part of life, but it's part of life. But like, the world would be better if we could take it outside every now and again. But that doesn't mean I think everybody should just be fighting all the time, anywhere, like over nothing at all, right? I'm not saying I want to bring back dojo storming so that every time someone like coughs the wrong way, all of a sudden there's people are fucking kicking in doors. You know, it's more just I wish that the martial arts world was not as pussified as it has become, to the point where you can't say anything without some fuckhead who has no intention of actually backing up their words can fucking jump in your comment section and be like, yeah, well, you're fake, right? It's foolish. Is Zuckerberg talented in jiu-jitsu from what you have seen? I have not seen much of Zuckerberg doing jiu-jitsu. I tried to track down his matches. I could not. If you want me to react to them and you know where they are, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Sullivan_MMA. As you can actually as you can see right here. All right, hit me up on one of those, okay, and send me the links, and I definitely will take a look at it because I wanted to do a video about those, but I just couldn't find any. I couldn't find them anywhere. But yeah, that's why I think I like fighters like Chisora, to be honest. Not the best, but willing to have a scrap with anyone for cash. Yeah, it's great, you know? Everybody loves the scrappy dude who's willing to fight anybody at any time. It's great, you know? I love it, right? But that's just not where we're at, right? And I'm not saying that I'm the type of guy who's like, I'll fight anyone, right? I'm not going to be foolish about taking a fight in a cage or a ring or anything like that, right? But there is a line where you gotta fight, you know, and you can't worry about who it is when that line is reached, right? Like if someone, like I wouldn't care, John Jones, Prime Anderson Silva, whoever else is fucking scary, right? You know, if I was walking around with Sylvia in public, right? And John Jones emerged from behind a dumpster and grabbed her ass, right? That's not a situation where I'm going to be like, but that's John Jones. It's a situation where I'm going to be like, all right, I could probably get in one or two. I could probably get in one or two good ones. And if I just make them count, maybe I could do some real damage to this guy, even if he fucks me up. I just want to make sure that I do some damage to him because he crossed a line where I have to fight. Right? There's certain lines that when somebody crosses, you gotta fight, you know? And that, to me, is what anyone, anytime, anywhere really means, is that if they cross that line, it doesn't matter that it's it doesn't matter that it's, it doesn't matter that it's Conor McGregor back when Conor McGregor was Conor McGregor, right? It doesn't matter that it's Habib or Islam or Charles Oliveira or Gaethje or whoever, right? It doesn't matter that it's Tyson back when he was scarier than he is now, right? Doesn't matter. Like, you will fight them. But that doesn't mean that, like, I'm going to get into a cage with John Jones. It doesn't mean I'm going to get into a ring with Mike Tyson in 89, right? That's not what that means. It means when Tyson tries to grab my wife's ass, you know, it's on. That's really what that means. At least to me. Anyway, I don't know. Damiel has for real been in like over 100 scraps, I hear. Yeah, he has. Oh shit, you know what? I don't want to go on a wild goose chase looking for it, but I got his shirt, and I've been meaning to wear it for training. I'll probably wear it tomorrow for jiu-jitsu or something like that, you know, if I can find it. Sullivan versus Jones when Jones grabs Sylvia's ass. He'd probably be into that. Yeah, so that seems like it's it. It's been a little bit over. It's almost been 2.5 hours. Wow, that's crazy. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Like I said, like the stream. If you want to donate, you can find my Streamlabs donation thing in the description. Don't feel pressured to. I know some of you guys got pills to pay for. You know, some of you dudes got pills to pay for. I get that. You know. You know, it is what it is. Thank you all very much. You know, Fallout stream this Sunday. I will probably have it go for about an hour, maybe a little bit more, but you know, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, oh yeah, video